So this is probably the most random episode.
But sometimes the most random things are the best.
Yes, are the best. How poetic! I love it. Yeah.
I felt poetic.
Then you drop this banger. We have actually a small, tiny plan.
Piccolo.
Piccolo.
And the plan is 2 quotes.
To talk about quotes that, how did you call it? That impacted.
Oh yeah, that
Impact
changed everything.
That
Everything.
changed everything. I asked a friend on my way here if she had any quotes that impacted her, and she thought for like 5 minutes and then she had none. I thought like she probably has like a good quote, but she disappointed me. No, she didn't, but she said there's not a quote that like changed her life.
Wow, I have like a list.
Okay. Well, actually, it doesn't surprise me. Well, a little, but if I think about it, it doesn't.
But we picked 2 today.
Yeah.
Let's just put it somewhere.
It's like I have to say, it's a TikTok actually, with like, I don't know if you know I don't know if it's a trend, but it's like a skeleton and then the devil besides they're talking on a table, and the skeleton, like the dead man or whatever, says like, what does he say in this? Shit. He says like, do you want to know the truth or something? And the devil says whatever's on there.
It doesn't matter how open, peaceful and loving you try to be. People can only meet you as deeply as they've met themselves.
And that hit hard. That hit hard. Like really, I thought about it, I was like, wow, this is like true. And I have thought about it since then more often. And I think about it like, yeah, you can't understand because you don't know yourself. You can't know me.
It is true.
I have like another which says, I don't know, but that says like, I hate overthinking. I wish I can stop it. And then the devil says, but you were never wrong. And I was like,
Wait a minute. What does the person say?
I hate overthinking. I wish I can stop it. And the devil says, but you were never wrong.
With the overthinking?
Yeah.
Like it's good to overthink?
Yeah, you overthought so much, but in the end, you were kind of always right. You were thought like, and it never led you to somewhere wrong, kind of.
So you were right to overthink
Yeah.
it because it wasn't like obvious at first.
Maybe it was obvious, but
you needed to process it.
yeah, because you thought it, and you never did something, or you never chose the wrong thing because of overthinking, kind of. I thought like, yeah, shit. Well, yeah. So, but we wanted to talk about this one.
Actually. Yes. And I yesterday
yeah,
randomly heard another quote that kind of comes along with
randomly.
it just popped up in my life.
Yeah.
And it's from Anais Nin. You've heard of her, maybe?
No, actually
but
not.
She actually does have like quite some really good quotes.
Impressive.
So if you're like in the quote niche, you might know.
You know her? Okay. Oh yeah.
She's like a quote celebrity.
Okay.
I think.
But I'm not in the quote niche actually, as you. Yeah. But what did you say?
Noted. Okay. Anyways, she said, "We never see what is, only we see in everything ourselves." So that's kind of the same or like similar to. Or like it's a different font.
Yeah, it's a different font.
But
yeah.
it says the same.
But your quote kind of says like everything everything is a mirror, kind of.
Yeah.
Because you see yourself. And my quote,
it's
not mine, but the one I found, kind of. Founder of the quote.
Like you can write it in your Vita
CV.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but the one I found says like in everyone is a mirror of you. But that's not really true because not everyone is a mirror of me.
Maybe the quotes focus on something else.
Yeah.
But they're like from the same tree, but
different branches.
Yeah, like they're apples from the same tree, but they live on different sides of the tree, and the apples look quite different from one another.
Noted.
Okay, it's not exactly the same. But they're like cousins. These quotes are cousins. Okay, I stop now with the metaphorical stuff.
I thought so. Yeah, maybe let's just.
But yeah,
quit.
But yeah, that's why it's like useless sometimes to insist on somebody understanding you.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they do not have the ability to understand you.
So you just have to let them be, because they have to learn it on their own. Like you can't force them, and they have to go their own way, kind of. So you can't really force it on them. It's impossible.
And you should also let go of the desire to be fully understood by someone. I mean, of course, up to some level, some empathy is needed, I think. But it shouldn't be like this neediness of someone else having to understand you.
Yeah.
And otherwise you won't be at peace with yourself.
Yeah, it's more like if someone understands me or something that I say, a feeling, it's more like I'm happy if they understand me, but if they wouldn't get it, it's not a sad feeling, but it's just like,
neutral.
Yeah, you have another way to think, kind of. So,
it is?
Yeah, it's what it is. It's not like that one person understands you completely in every aspect, but more like every person understands you on a different level.
It's like each person's one circle and you overlap. But like with every other circle you overlap differently.
Yeah, that's it. Actually, maybe that's. Thank you for listening.
I hope you enjoyed it. But I think it's still important to always be, as it says in the quote, open and peaceful and loving. Even though sometimes you won't be fully understood, or you won't be met, or your kindness won't be met. Or there's like plenty of quotes that say, the world is so cruel and therefore I won't be. Or it's hard to remain kind in a world that is so cruel. But to always hold on to that pure love. That's something I kind of thought about a lot. Because when someone treats me disrespectfully, should I also be disrespectful? Because they treated me that way?
Yeah.
Or should I remain as I usually want to be?
Yeah.
Like, respectful.
Yeah. I think like the only right answer is like to remain peaceful, or like, I want to say happy. Respectful. But it's hard. It's like this. If someone is like not nice, then it's hard for me to stay like calm and be respectful.
You have to really like tame yourself.
Yeah.
Like hold yourself back from.
Because it feels like if they do it to me, then I have the right to do it as well, even though it's not useful.
It's also like not necessarily hurting them, because you feel these emotions.
Yeah.
You feel the anger, and that's not a nice thing to feel always.
What?
It's not always a nice thing to feel.
Yeah.
Like it's like you're drinking the poison that you want to use on other people.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of thing.
And it's also something, if they treat me disrespectfully, it's kind of more they want me to feel this emotion.
Yeah, that's true.
So if I don't give in to them, then they've lost.
Yeah, I like that thought.
Okay, nice. Approve.
At least, like this podcast, if only for one person, it helped me.
I'm grateful. Yes.
Yeah. But I mean, it also depends, like when someone treats you disrespectfully, whether the person is some random stranger,
Yeah.
or if it's someone that's like in your life permanently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
And then I would like cut them out of your life.
If there's someone
If
close
I
to you?
once heard, well, I once heard that if someone can't be respectful to you, then they can't be in your life. And I think that's beautiful. I mean, yeah, it's hard if it's a family member, but
but that would cut me. That would cut me out of out of lives as well. I would be the one cut because I'm not always.
But parents don't count because they're your parents and they have to keep you in your life, right?
Sorry.
But yeah, that's true, kind of.
Because I think everyone at least deserves chances, and it's also not like if they're like once a week or maybe unfriendly for 3 times a week, then they're automatically bad people and should be cut out of your life. I think it's like a balance thing.
It needs to be balanced.
Yeah. But, well, I have nothing more to say actually about this quote. We have another quote. Or you?
Life changing.
Your quote that you found.
That I heard on YouTube. All communication is a cry for help or a loving response.
So now, I didn't kind of get it. You have to explain it to me.
Everything someone says is a cry for help. Deep down, they're like, it comes from a place of fear or a loving response.
But why?
Because everything a person says either comes from a place of fear, that's when it's a cry for help, or it comes from a place of love, it's a loving response. So it's really interesting once you pay a little attention to it. And I think, because I think Goethe or Schiller said, life is suffering. Most of the time people speak from a place of fear. They're like, it's cry for help.
But every sentence I say.
Because everything we do is either motivated by love or fear. It's like when you break it down, when you ask them like, why did you do that? Why did you do that, you know?
Yeah.
Then it all comes down to some very, very fundamental human desires, like from stone ages. Why? Like most of the time we do something or we're afraid of being left out or like not part of the group, because back then in the day being alone meant death.
Yeah.
So that's still in our brains, because our brains almost haven't changed for like thousands of years.
But that's also because like why shame exists, because if you don't want to say something wrong that is weird or that people like kind of do not approve of, and when you say something like this, you're like exposed. No, not exposed. Expelled, yeah. And that meant you had to die, actually.
Yeah, like in our very primitive brains just work that way. And we're like, yeah, that's just how... It's just so normal, but no one really thinks about this. That it makes so much sense why we behave in ways. And we're like so... controlled by these urges, desires.
From
Like,
then.
From back then in the day.
Back then in the day when I was...
When I was young. Whatever.
Everything was better.
People sometimes are just like, yeah, they're just crazy or they're just weird.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just it. They're just
Yeah.
that way.
But that's never the...
No, they're never that way. There's always a reason. And it's always a stupid reason because of something like that happened in the Stone Ages.
Yeah, but it's all... Not always. But it's... Yeah, if you go like back, but like to primitive ages. But it could also be something that has to do with your childhood, but
yeah,
forms of that has they
sure
the
root
made
of it
the
all.
root of it all
Roots back
to the primitive
times.
Yeah, true. Some people just see this as it is and they can't think deeper.
Yeah, that's see, that's something I can't understand. They're just shallow people, and there's not more to that.
There's just what?
They're just shallow people, like, you know. That's what what we would say if we wouldn't know that there's a reason for it.
Yeah, they're just shallow.
There's nothing
behind them.
No.
They're empty. No, yeah. But there's a reason why they're... But they can't just...
You just don't know it.
But why can't people see this on a deeper level? Why would people?
Because they're built differently.
Because they're just that way. No, maybe because of their childhood, their parents never let them think on another level, like deeper. They did everything for them, kinda, and for that way they never had to really think, or their parents maybe said it like they're just crazy, they're stupid, and they took that way of thinking and made it their own,
adapted it.
Yeah,
I mean, I think up to some level people just are different.
Of course.
Like some waters in nature are also very deep, and some waters are just
That's
a puddle.
Crazy metaphor, but yeah.
And I think people can be as different as forms of nature. But yeah, there's definitely also a lot of it that's just like learned from parents or society or whatever. If you would want to, you could analyze that on a very deep level. That's also why I think villains are such interesting characters in stories, because like the most boring villain is just bad for the villain's sake, you know, like being the villain. So they have to be bad. That's it. They just want to rule the world or something.
That's what shallow people would think.
Yeah, that's like a lot of times. Sometimes it is that way. And I think these villains are the least interesting.
Yeah, obviously.
Or like, I mean, they also have like, if they want control, then they experienced not having control. That's why they want it so badly. But like when that's not explored, I think there's something missing.
Yeah. Why are they like behaving
that way? And because once you know the story of like the backstory of a villain, they stop being that bad, hated person.
Yeah.
Then people are like, oh, now I feel kind of sorry for them.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's with every person actually that way. Like in real life as well. People aren't just bad. People have reasons, a backstory why they are that way. We just don't know it. But we should always keep in mind we never know what they're going through or have gone through. And like everything bad people do, or like, I don't want to say bad, but kinda unhealthy behaving, toxic people.
Yeah.
You know, they're always crying for help, literally.
So,
anyways,
who would you say is the most interesting villain for you?
I can't think of someone right away, but I like my answer. My standard answer is probably Loki from the Thor films.
Yeah.
He's not really a villain, I think. Okay, he kind of is. but
Yeah.
but like he's so liked. He's so popular, so I don't know. But yeah. And I think it's very like we get a lot of hints why he is the villain, why he's that way.
Mhm.
And it makes a lot of sense, and
you empathize with him a lot.
Yeah, I really feel his pain.
Okay, yeah.
Well,
It's getting a little deeper. Yeah, but anyone else that
maybe just say your answer, and maybe I'll come up with someone else.
You will. I don't know if you like my answer, but I feel like yes.
No, I'm very intrigued.
My favorite villain. It's not a villain like in like superhero movies or like things.
Yeah, just like an antagonist.
Yeah, but my answer would be August from Young Royals.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah, but I feel... I don't know, I hated him for so long, and after, like, in the 3rd season, you really, like, get to understand him, and you have, like, so much... I have so much empathy with him that I in the end, I loved him, actually. He's crazy.
Real love. Right there. Yeah.
No, not real love, but you get the point.
Mm-hmm.
So it's...
Yeah, he's actually a very interesting character. Funny how we just picked some of our favorite characters, I think.
In movies or series?
I think so. Like, I mean, for me, Loki is my favorite character of all fictional characters, I think. If I had to pick one.
Mm-hmm.
And he happens to be a villain as well, so...
Well, I wouldn't know if he's a favorite, but in the show, he's actually my favorite. And, I don't know, Young Royals is like one of my favorite shows.
Yeah,
so
same.
Basically, yeah. I wouldn't put it on number 1, but there's also not a tier list, so I just... There is no tier list, but I couldn't put him on 1.
List,
yes, so like, whatever. Yeah.
Could there be?
Could there be? That's the question.
There could be a tier list.
A tier list of shows or
there should be one.
Should we make a tier list?
I don't know. Maybe if we like run out of ideas, we can always come back to this.
Yeah, true, but that's a nice idea actually. If we include some MBTI types. So it stays in our genre.
Yeah.
Or either shows or maybe characters actually.
Characters.
Maybe
yeah,
then we
that's
could
a better idea.
do their personalities.
Yeah, and analyze them.
That's our specialty. That's not specialty, but yeah.
Interesting question would be if like our tag.
Okay.
Our talk. I don't know what that was. If like we're right now crying for help or saying loving responses. But I don't think it's coming from a place of fear, this whole podcast thing. I do hope it's not.
Maybe it's the fear of we don't know what to do else, so we just do a podcast and hope it works, kind of. But what's that? What would be the aspects of a loving response?
Because we love
doing this?
Yeah, we love
that's enough.
Deep talks.
Yeah,
right?
True.
Am I right?
Am I right? But it would be sad if this whole thing is just like out of fear.
Then it wouldn't go very far.
Probably.
Because things based off of fear never go very far. Because they're like destructive. Because the whole universe, I read, is being held together by nothing but love.
Oh, that's a sweet quote, actually.
But it's true, because if there wouldn't be some, like, it can be any form of love, but then we would all just be like, I don't care, and it would be the purge. Like,
how your look was like, it would be
the purge.
You like really took it seriously.
But it's true, because if you like wouldn't feel any kind of affection for other people or the world, then everyone would just do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And there wouldn't be, nothing would exist.
Yeah, true. Everyone would live for
themselves.
Yeah.
And we couldn't do anything. Like, we couldn't build houses, we couldn't build...
Friendships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, everything exists because of some form of love. And I think that's really
beautiful. Man!
Why?
What is your problem? So the camera is just not having us today. I don't know.
It is allowed to have bad days too.
True. And I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
That quote, I think, sums up the episode pretty well. Or it doesn't, whatever. It's a nice quote to end this episode on. So I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for listening.
Or watching.
Or both. And Ramen.